Today on BTF, quote, "And you will know I am the best in the world when I lay my vengeance upon you." End quote. What team am I on again? Trades in Street Fighter League? Question mark. And insert blender noise here. That's how you start the fight and finish it quickly. Welcome back to Beyond the Fist, the Street Fighter League livecast talk show presented by Toga TV. I am your host once again, togashiazrael, and this is episode 9, week 9, match day 8. I'm actually running out of ways to introduce you guys. This is the panel. Let's give it a go. Claw equals life. Ryu equals fake. From Vancouver Street Battle, welcome Geki. Was that supposed to be the blender noise?
That's a blender, yeah.
Okay. Alright, secondly, emphasis on the two, and I apologize because I'm going to butcher this terribly. What's up, Mortsy?
Oh, you had to, huh?
I mean, I already YA on commentary. I might as well get the laugh in too, right?
Thing for Halloween.
Oh, too short. He's 7'6". I'm 5'5". Anyways, and spoiler alert, like Idom's Laura, here is freedom. Except in the form of man. Say hi to SplicedHelix. What's up, my man?
Merca.
Apparently it's really hot down there. Anyways, all video footage from today's livecast is used with permission from Capcom. Follow the SFL and the Capcom Pro Tour on Twitch at twitch.tv/CapcomFighters, on YouTube at youtube.com/CapcomFighters, and on Facebook Live, facebook.com/CapcomFighters. Gentlemen, button check time, week 1. Punk and Team Inferno receive what can only be described as a shock to the system after freeing Laura for Idom last week, and an interesting game plan to try and counter him, which failed. This week, Punk and Inferno taking no chances trying to eliminate Justin Wong and Team Spirit from contention. More on that later. Your first hit is Team Spirit versus Team Inferno. Check this one out.
He's getting a little bit too antsy. We can kind of see it.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Nice and lane from both sides, not wanting to press the button. And the first button they press is stand medium kick. Doesn't even give him a combo, right? It's just a great range button, nice and compact, keeping it safe.
Nice. Played nice and tight with that medium kick. Again, great poking tool to control the neutral.
Justin, still golden. Oh, but he gets thrown again. Punk just knows that spacing. Oh, catches the whiff on the roundhouse.
Take my throw? No, sir.
Working up with buns right here. Oh, and he gets the counter hit. Punk was looking for Justin to throw him back like that. Thought Justin wanted the corner.
A little bit of V-trigger remaining for Justin Wong. Punk finds the activation.
Oh, yeah, we got clipped trying to press something as he landed as well. And get the knockdown for Punk here, but yeah, the back tech gonna give Justin some space.
Running out of V-trigger as well from both ends. Plus frames.
Oh. He respects it. He knows his character.
Uh-oh. Good check after the Rekka.
Dangerous whiff at this point. Punk can definitely die to a critical art.
He got the throw, and Punk is staying in there.
Get back.
Whew.
Engine running. Opener, yes sir. Very, very active crouch strong at that. EX Rosena does find the mark, this time on Punk's behalf. Ooh, exchange of normals there. The roundhouse clips.
Caught him flinching, got him low with the crouch medium punch. I'm just gonna activate that V trigger now. Has his active. You know, Punk's gonna be looking for his. Oh, he doesn't actually punish the sweep. It just goes right back in with the wreck of the plus frames.
Oh, nice call there. Yeah, way to find the gap in medium kick anyway. I like that.
Just stay in medium kick. Knew he was gonna go with the wreckers afterwards. Oh, blocks in time. You see the micro walk backs in the block from Punk.
Oh, and he got caught after the juggle, and Punk is gonna take out Justin Wong.
Yeah, there's a couple of times in that set actually where Justin came down from a tech situation and then
just waiting for the dash, any sort of movement, checking with the crouch jab. went through with the counter hit into the Tanko. Ugh.
Walking forward again. Ooh. Rare, non-confirmed, a low forward, and then he makes up for it immediately. Side switch as well. Oh,
Slight glitch in the system is what it was.
Great whip push on the side of Brian F now, but he tries to get cheeky with the stand reset. Punk ready for it.
Ugh.
Super
it, yeah.
confirmed. And man, just like that, Punk has tied up this team battle, making it look easy up against Justin Wong. Roundhouse again, not gonna let it rip after that. It was pretty well spaced.
Just right at the edge of that hitbox as well.
Oh, no
okay.
punish. A lot of damage left on the table. You know, Punk's gonna be feeling good about that.
That was definitely a lucky chance for Psycho. Does get this dive kick, but doesn't miss converting him off of it.
Yeah, I would love for Psycho to establish the dive kick game early. Oh, big jump in. Punk wasn't even expecting to hit. Finds the hit anyway. Confirms for the critical art.
Nice.
And that's going to be 2-0 over Psycho, and Punk completes the reverse OCV.
All right, guys, there you saw a pivotal game 3, followed by the Punk problem re-emerging. The last time these two teams played, Justin opted not to ban Karen from Punk and targeted JB and Rashid instead, but Spirit were defeated. This time around, the same strategy seemingly looked real good as both the Brian F, courtesy of Geki, and Psycho dominated their matches against Broly Legs, Chun-Li, and JB's Birdie 2-0 each. Game 2 between Punk and Justin, which you saw in that first clip, made it look like it was almost time for the lamest of 3-0 sweeps, until exactly what you just saw was this clutch from Punk, the best in the world, or did the legendary Justin Wong choke, and did the Church of Lame go down in flames? SplicedHelix.
Team Inferno, let's go. Let's go. You don't... Justin Wong, I don't think Justin Wong choked at all. That was a very close mirror match. And the better player won. And then he went and went ahead and mopped up the rest of the team. Because it's Punk. I've been saying this for weeks. It's Punk. It's Punk. The man's a problem. It's a good problem for me. It's a bad problem for everybody else. You got to beat Punk. That's what you have to focus on. And when that doesn't happen, you're not going to win. You're not. It's just, unless he picks Chun-Li and has to fight Laura for some reason.
Of course, that was a throwback to last week where we talked about a very questionable game plan. This time around, Punk, as you guys heard on the intro there, I actually quoted Pulp Fiction, except I replaced I am the Lord with I am the best in the world for Punk. Geki, you are shaking your head. Team Spirit was your dark horse. They are now officially eliminated from contention. Talk to me about the Church of Lame. What happened?
So I'm gonna need a drink of water first.
Do it.
So, is it that Punk is so good that he's in another tier compared to everyone else? Is it? Or is it that after how many seasons we've seen Punk dominate and destroy people the same way over and over again, and people aren't getting better at fighting Punk? I don't know. I can't fully admit that Punk is just amazing, because of course he is. Of course, I'm not denying that. But the thing is, I feel like other players aren't stepping up or adjusting. Because the thing is, Punk treats you like everyone else. Punk doesn't differentiate between you or Fudo or anybody. Like, if he's playing a Mika, he's playing a Mika. Sure, he might recognize that you're doing certain things, but he's still going to treat you the same when you get knocked down, when he tries to shimmy you, when he puts pressure on you, when he whiff punishes, all that sort of stuff. So I think the sooner people realize that, the more ways that people will beat Punk. And to be honest, I think Psycho in terms of game plan, had the best chance. I think he just kind of fell apart and was unprepared for the matchup. I don't think he fought a single Karen that has been as good as Punk, because a lot of the punishes he dropped, a lot of the choices for spending meter or damage he dropped, and wasn't the best choice to really give him the advantage he needed. And Brian F has shown historically that he can beat Punk in tournament, but he just couldn't do it this time. And Justin Wong, obviously, as SplicedHelix said, he played really well. I think he shouldn't have went the mirror because of the comfort that Punk had, and I think he could have played like Falk, to be quite honest with you, because I think it would handle Punk really well, especially the way he likes to play. Just alone with like the stand light kick poking, and then whiff punishing with stand heavy punch, and with the good anti-air options, because everyone across the board, except for Brian F in a few situations, was not anti-airing Punk when he jumped. So that's my little spiel.
All right, so overall, with regards to Street Fighter League, with the team that was on paper for Team Spirit, this has to be severely disappointing. Not even finishing in the money, let alone in that top 2 spot. Mortsy, was this more about Justin Wong, or was this more about Punk?
So I don't think they put up a bit of a fight, but I don't think Brian F in this at the stage that they're at right now. This because this is what previously what tournament did this them recording this follow?
I believe it was NCR.
Okay. Which ones has Punk won again?
NCR in final round.
So this was right after Punk had taken a tournament. This is before he's taken more.
This was against Momochi too, right?
Yeah, NCR was
NCR
against
he beat
Momochi.
I
Momochi.
remember, right, because he did the Zeku, and it was like him playing Johnny, and then him playing Punk, and he just got dismantled.
Yep.
So this is a Justin Wong thing this past week. I think a Justin Wong thing, and it's not something tangible as like Justin did play well, but what he did, he threw in the sense that he abandoned his game plan in the last round. You could see it as the set went on. He was winning earlier in the set when he played patient, when he was out patienting Punk. But he gets super fidgety on the last round. You see him get counter hit multiple times, literally in a row. He gets air reset, and he gets counter hit, and then he gets counter hit. Maybe he was backdashing. He started to tech throws, which Justin rarely does. You can actually see he never techs the first throw. It's very rarely that he did. But honestly, neither of them really. As soon as they were in like that kind of situation, they would just let it go, and they take the throw, move on. And he won through. He won through at least a timeout earlier. But in that last round, like compare the length of the previous rounds versus that one, where they got to 49 seconds, whereas the other ones all made it 20 seconds. So it was so much more time, and it's either it's Punk pushing the envelope, but I feel that it was more Justin not panicking, but just doing a lot that didn't work. One thing that I would like to see, and that no one seems to really contest because they're scared. Playing against Punk is hard because you can't walk back often. Once you're in the range of the crouch medium kick, people are scared to walk because everyone knows he's going to confirm crouch medium. And he uses that to develop his throw game, which we saw more against Brian F., where he would walk. We're at a point, and Punk does this a lot, where he does his stagger walk forward, and he just gets up and throws. So much. And once you're in the corner, when you can't adjust your spacing, you can't walk back, not that people are, you're at the mercy of Punk and his throw game. Very. So I think that people need to start trying to space Punk much better. No one's really, because they're trying to play this footsie game where they're blocking each other's buttons. That's where Punk is going to crush. You have to play either outside the range, play a runaway game, play a defensive game, and when you do, we saw Justin was successful. And when he lost, it's because he started trying to contest Punk in that. So I think it's more of a Justin thing, and it's more Punk just being consistent and being good. But Justin came off of his game plan that was succeeding and lost for it. And the others, yeah, they didn't necessarily do terribly, but they didn't find success, if that makes success off of the neutral game, which is where you have to beat him. Or you can just, because I think that Balrog and Nakali, probably Balrog way more. Balrog's volatile. His V trigger is volatile enough that you can get round easy, but it's not something that you can be like, yes, this is what I'm gonna do. It's not like it's not good enough. Unlike G, like you're still -2 after you do 2 Rekkas. It's not like G where he's just ends everything in V skill, and then it's like annoying, right? So it's his, and that's also why Brian is playing. But it's because so it's not volatile enough where you can depend on it. So you need to start beating Punk in neutral. And that's not gonna happen.
All right, so an interesting point. Geki brought it up that Punk doesn't or plays you essentially the same way as everyone else, but in the post-match interview after the OCV, he talked about playing Justin's Karen different from every other Karen, who of course volatile rush down in the mirror match especially. SplicedHelix, Geki also brought up the fact that Justin possibly could have picked someone else. Was that something that you would think about in Justin's shoes to try and close out Team Inferno?
Well, he didn't have Manat, so the level of comfort that Punk was sitting at with his main character wasn't able to be matched by Justin, no matter who he picked. So outside of him having his main, which in a normal tournament he would have picked, that that would have been his game plan to go with. And once you take that away, it's regardless of your skill level as a player, it drops you down. If you can't play the game you're used to, it takes away from what you can and can't do.
And Geki, you're the one who did bring up the fact that Justin could have possibly played Falk in this matchup instead. Do you agree with Punk about the volatility of a Karen mirror?
To be honest, like in this specific case alone, with Spirit going against Inferno, I actually think banning Rashid was a mistake. Because I think nerfing Punk slightly actually benefits the team much more, because if he opted to go for Colleen, he opted to go for Cammy, he hasn't played Colleen for that long, and every person on the team has been playing their characters for much longer. So I even think Psycho could have taken out Colleen. I think Brian F could easily have taken out Colleen given the chance. And I think as well that if he picked Cammy, it would have been much, much easier, because two of the characters, so Brian F's Balrog and Psycho's Nakali, do so much damage to Cammy. And even though Punk's neutral is really good, is nowhere near as good as his Karen. Because the damage he gets off of a low forward with Cammy, even if you're good at confirming, is nowhere near as much as Karen with full meter. So I think that would have been a better strategy, to ban the Karen and let JB go. Because I think even worse comes to worse, I think Justin and at least Brian F could guaranteedly take out JB, even though JB is very strong. But Brian F is extremely comfortable in the Rashid matchup. And Justin Wong is extremely comfortable as well, and has fought a ton of Rashids that are better than JB and beaten them. So
With Karen though?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a very interesting point in terms of in terms of other options. JB with his Rashid in this tournament though has been on a tear, and of course he did end up taking whichever tournament that was just shortly after. Mortsy closes off on this point.
I don't know about the whole blowing up. Like, Karen's only got 25 more health. She has 50 more suns, so that's a little more significant. But she's only 25 more health than Karen, so she kind of dies. It's more the explosive damage. I do not think, like, Balrog Cammy is a hard matchup for Balrog. That is a very difficult, and it's still volatile in the same matter that all the Balrog matches up against like lower health characters, right? You can still just win off the back of outside of V-Reverse, where you just kind of waste half their time. Especially, actually, I'd rather be V-Reverse like on Karen than I would on Easy. Just because, well, it's not like Karen needs a reacher, right? Neither does Cammy to an extent, but that's a matchup based. I think I just think giving themselves like they're gonna have to fight Punk regardless, and he plays similar on every character that he doesn't like play differently. He's still playing the same. You're still playing Punk. You're not obviously you're playing against the character, and they don't have a matchup that can really exploit either of the other characters that Punk would bring out. Cammy or Colleen in this situation. Obviously, Rashid do that. So I don't think it made much of an issue. I think it let them focus on Punk, and this time they just weren't able to do it. Justin was close. They almost because Justin wins, they 3-0. He was so close, and they could have had it, but he didn't. And that's the gamble you take when you choose to ban away JB. I think it's easier to deal with one than having to deal with both. So, I think
that was the only game that Punk lost, was that one to Justin.
Yeah, so Team Inferno is looking poised 2 weeks to go for one of those top 2 spots to make it into the next season. The remaining 2 opponents, of course, Team Psycho, who hasn't really shown up as of yet. And, of course, the only big blemish aside from the Team Storm loss was week 6, match day 5 against Team Gale. And of course, Gale and Inferno still head to head in the last week of season 1. Speaking of Psycho and Team Gale, on to our next segment, because we took up all of the first segment on Punk and Justin. It's Team Gale versus Team Psycho. Gale looking like they're on the outside looking in for one of those top 2 spots, but also on the outside looking in for one of those top 3 money spots in a logjam tie with Team Frost. Team Psycho, already out of contention for either of those spots, are looking to play spoiler for the rest of the tournament, but teams are still cautious, not freeing Toys Bison from his cage. Let's take a look at Team Gale versus Team Psycho, but not necessarily the matchups. Here's your first topic.
What's happening? Another jersey. There it is, the Team Psycho jersey.
So that means more L's for their team. Currently, the way Shine's been playing, there's going to be even further down. There's going to be a 7th place standing now that Shine is on this team.
Yo, you ready?
Hey, can I get a jersey? Can we both get Team Gale jerseys?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Can we pull?
So before we get into the matchup, let's talk about something really, really interesting. Shine opted to have some fun, sat on the side of Team Psycho after losing his mirror match to Just a Kid, which brings up a potentially interesting discussion. Since we technically used a 50-50 on the first question, let's do a little mix-up first hit style question for this segment. Would you like to see trades in future seasons of Street Fighter League? And how would you implement it in a way that it works? Geki.
I can't defend against mix-up, man. I play Vega. Why would you say that?
But you play Ryu.
Well, I mean, if the matchup's bad. No, but I actually think instead of having character bans, you have trades. Like the loser of a team gets to trade maybe their weakest player and picks one team and trades with them. I think that would be really interesting and much more. And then that way, everyone would play their best characters. We'd see high level content in terms of matches, and we just cause like a really intense, back and forth, a little bit of RNG in a way, because you don't know what team is going to pick what team and what team member, and also when maybe it'll take effect. So I think adding trades during the the season would be incredibly interesting.
SplicedHelix, we talked about questioning the draft format a little bit, and the possibility of trades coming into this could possibly, correct things that team captains might have made mistakes on during the draft process. How would you implement mid-season trades?
Well, the thing you're going to run into is what happens when one team wants to trade a trade and the other team doesn't. Do you force them to trade? On record? Do you have to have a trade where everybody's in agreement? Like when you're looking at professional teams, professional sports teams that aren't esports, and doing their trades, they trade for advantage. So you've got a draft pick on the next season, or you move up in the draft, or you trade two mediocre players for a really good player. You can't really do that. I mean, unless you're going to trade two players for a captain. So you've got a team of 2 against a team of 4, that type of thing. It would be delicate the way they'd have to do it. And it would be interesting to see if they would let a team get stacked as opposed to the other teams, or if they would force some kind of balance.
That's a very interesting point. I'm thinking along the lines of, because there are 3 different categories in which players sort of fall under for this one, you could trade captain for captain, you could trade online qualifier for online qualifier, you could trade fan vote for fan vote, something like that. Mortsy, how would you implement trades in the mid-season for Street Fighter League?
So when you say mid-season, do you mean like between these 2 seasons?
No, I'm referring to like during the course of a season. How would you implement trades?
I wouldn't touch the teams as they are, because you kind of ruin the integrity of the entire thing if you start swapping players between the whole point. It's not like basketball, or, well, I guess I don't know much about basketball, but I know it's not like hockey where you swap out a single tiny cog in the entire. You're swapping out one of the 3 players, and especially since one of those 3 players has a chance to carry the entire time. Obviously, and one of the other things that I guess no one's mentioned is who decides. Who decides to trade? Do the captains trade? Obviously, if the captains are doing the ones that are the ones doing the trading, it wouldn't make sense for someone who was drafted onto a team to be traded to another team. So, because why not just draft the other people? That seems silly to me. Although obviously this is kind of silly in general. We're theory crafting here. I don't think trades necessarily work with the format that we're with, as much as yes, we'd like to see shakeups of the teams. That'd be cool. But I don't think you can do it during the season. The season's not even that long. They play, you know what I mean? Like, they're only playing everyone twice. It's like, maybe if the season was much longer, I could see like a redraft almost. But I don't like I don't like Geki's idea of like forcing a trade where you can shove off your low. It's not like, that sounds like a deck builder, but with people. It sounds like 3rd grade dodgeball, where the little nerd gets picked last and he gets forced to be terrible, or he gets.
But we're all nerds in fighting games.
They shove the 3 nerds on the same team, and then they beat the ever living shit, and then you just have a league with 5 teams. You don't even have that doesn't. Again, it's kind of like ruining the integrity where everyone just gets a free win. So I don't like that idea, especially because, although I don't really give a shit about other people's feelings, but it's kind of like, all right, we're gonna take Classico, we're gonna take Psycho, and we're gonna take Broly Legs. We're just gonna shove them over there, right? Like, that's good. That's what it ends up being. We're just gonna put them all on the cart and throw them away. Okay, like that's dumb. Like, you don't. That's bad. I feel bad saying it.
Well, if you did trades, you wouldn't be able to trade the captains.
No,
the captains, the general manager doesn't trade himself out of a team. You'd have to work with everybody except the captain.
Yeah, but I have a hard time believing that a player would want to. I could see swaps negotiated by individual players in turn, like, because you have a team and they say, hey Shine, like if Shine goes, I don't want to be on this team anymore, you think NuckleDo or Rob TV are going to be like, yeah, that's fine, we'll just lose our person who gets banned every game? Not yet. You'll just, like, they'd never let go of their teammate. But if he could go and talk to Chakotay in the back and be like, dude, I want to switch. Okay. How do you feel about joining Team Gale? I could see that happening. I could see them doing swaps where it's the players that want to swap, and it's not just like because who in their right mind would trade a strong member of your team? Unless the only team I could see doing that, it would be Gale, and it's not even, I would trade Rob, honestly, because of the overlap. Like where it necessitates, obviously it hasn't been that big a deal, but it's only where you'd want to trade. There's no reason to trade. No one's going to trade for Classico because he's like, you're not going to trade for a weak player. There's no player you're going to be like, yes, I want him on my. There's not enough room you can't play with numbers. It's probably always has to be a 1-for-1. Obviously, because you can't do a 2-for-1, because then you end with 4 and 2. Although that would be really interesting if you could muck with the team side, because Punk would just trade everyone away, and he'd have a better chance. Actually, no, the chance would be the same. Honestly, yeah, but actually, it's probably a little better because they can't ban. Yeah. Anyways,
But would you trade Rob for, say, JB?
are you kidding? Yes. Oh my god. But who in the right mind would trade away JB? That's what I mean. Like, there's generally
I'll give you the answer in a moment.
There in the trades, there's going to be like, this player is way better than this player. I'm not parting with them. If one team is going, I want that guy, that same team is probably going, I want my guy. I want the same guy. He is mine. You may not. So I just don't see it being plausible unless the two players were like the word has escaped me.
Colluding?
Thank you. Colluding. I should know it. Collusion. Yeah.
Wait, why should you know it?
Because of America.
That's another discussion for another time off camera.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Definitely is.
So like, I can
You're
see
not
that,
wrong.
and that would be kind of interesting if players were just like, we're swapping teams, and they just show up in their different jerseys. So that would be the only way I could see it. I just don't see trades working out logistically, or like the teams don't want to do that. I don't think any team would want to.
I think if the team roster size was bigger,
I
it'd
was
be a
gonna
lot
say
more
that.
feasible.
Because
Yeah,
Mortsy brought up the point, if the seasons were longer, what if the rosters were bigger? Would this actually work out as well?
It'd be a long show.
Yeah, it would be a long show. And we are
Well,
running
no, you take it, you still only have 3 people play a week.
So
But you
bench
have
spots?
a team to choose from
Okay.
of like 5 players.
Okay, that one is Mortsy's face said it all. I agree. I like the bench spot idea.
You haven't heard my
Yeah, I know.
idea.
Geki had a point. Go ahead, Geki.
Was that literally your
Speak
point?
up, man.
Okay, you don't change anything. You only implement this system. Okay, it's very simple. It's just like Street Fighter. Everyone plays Street Fighter, right? So
What's
you have
that?
a V.
I'm told that we all play Street Fighter. That's why we do this
Yes,
show.
exactly.
Anyways, no, go ahead.
What is
We-
Street
you have
Fighter?
a-
You guys keep talking about Street Fighter.
You each have a V trigger, let's say some sort of V trigger for the team, and the other meter or resource is your meter. Okay, let's just say I'm just using this as placeholder so you guys can
Where
understand.
are we going?
Okay,
We went off deep
So-
end, but keep going.
so every time a player wins a match or wins a round, they accumulate meter. Okay, every time they lose, they gain a bit of V trigger. Okay. Now, the ratios you can determine to make it fair or more balanced, whatever it is, but that's the basic idea. So, since everyone is accumulating meter and V trigger, at the beginning of the season, once you have all the players without the teams decided, you put value on each of the players. So basically, when you decide, I want to do a trade, I'm losing too much, you use your V trigger to steal or like to buy a person, and if the person, or you can flip it around, call it meter, whatever, and if the person on the team has enough meter to deny it, then they can use their meter to deny it.
Hold on. So you're talking about accumulating value throughout the season and the ability to build a no trade clause?
Yep.
So
okay, I wanted to make sure that was clear.
Basically, Team Storm never gets traded because of how much meter that Samurai is.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no way Samurai chooses to move, right?
You can't force trades. You can't force trades.
Exactly.
That's not a trade.
That's why you have to
steal. That's not a trade.
Well, what does V-Trigger do for most characters in Street Fighter V? They steal the round. They steal games. So
we're stretching, dude. We're stretching.
Okay, last thing on this topic before we actually move on to the match between Team Gale and Team Psycho. Give me your top
let's keep
three.
Talking about this.
Okay, no. Give me your top three in terms of trade value, because Mortsy brought up Rob TV as possibly having the highest trade value because depth of his character pool and just in terms of what you can get back in terms of value for, in the case of Team Gale, strategy-wise.
That's not really what I was saying, but okay.
Okay, no, that's sort of what I read into it. I'm filling in some blanks here, and we have been spitballing for a little bit. Who are your... Let's just go with your top value trade. Who do you trade for if you had the option to do so in Street Fighter League and you were controlling one of your teams right now? Talk about which team you are controlling, who you are trading for, and which piece is going the other way. Mortsy.
Can I just... Are we trading only those who fill the same role as others?
Sure. Let's go with that.
Trade for like an online can't be traded.
Correct.
Or an online
do that.
player can't be traded for a vote-in.
Correct. Do that.
I'm trying to think of actual plausible trades.
This is a subject. This is a good discussion subject, but it can't be done on the fly. There's way too much strategy behind. You have to assign value for certain attributes.
I can write an essay on this shit.
Samurai would have different trade value than Rob TV would, just simply because he's got the OCV factor. You know, JB would have a different trade value than Just a Kid. You've got this discussion. I was just kidding about talking about it more, but it's a good discussion, but it would have to be its own show off season. Save it for off season.
I can't even think about it.
All right, fair enough. Geki, do you have a last word before we move on?
I could see Up to Snuff being traded for Brian F.
The Brian F?
Can I just point out how terrible an idea that is? Real quick here.
But the thing is, they're both white guys with beards. No one's going to tell the difference.
That is wow.
Brian F does not have a beard.
He has facial hair. It's close. It's confusing enough for people watching.
Okay, you remember what I said a couple seconds ago about different value for different people? This is why this discussion should be on.
White people equal the same value.
I just like to point out that they already have Psycho. So you would never make a trade for another player who has the exact same main with much less flexibility.
But you get a better user of that character.
Really, it just sounds like you want...
No offense, Psycho.
All right, I'm going to close it off on this. I think the two guys that probably have the highest trade value, I agree that Rob TV is up there. I think Dual Kevin is one of those underrated trade pieces just because of what he has been doing in this season from a mental game standpoint for his team. So that's sort of where we're going to end that one off there. Back to the actual Street Fighter League, now that we've theory crafted for all of 15 minutes about potential trades and things that aren't going to happen in this first season. Let's go back to the action, and let's talk about Knuckle Dew's Kemi.
That's that medium kick was just ruling his world.
Okay, if that was a counter hit, I would have understood him going for like a low four. That was pretty close. He got the opener with the crouch strong. Same side.
Such a good switch up from Knuckle Dew, right? Harassing with these stand medium kicks, and that allows him to do other options like that EX dive kick, but Chakotay catches on, blows it up. Oh, you can see Knuckle Dew again, holding up in those situations where he gets side switch, right? Because he doesn't want to get giant swing back in the corner.
Oh, that was ambiguous. It even caught the back roll still on the other side. Yikes.
Oh, EXDP when Neshko came through.
Minimal amounts of damage there against Knuckle Dude.
Oh, and then the dash up throw. Knuckle Dude catches you asleep at the wheel real quick. Shot flees the scene.
How about that?
So we got the rounds tied up. A lot of meter on both sides here. It's going to be an explosive round. We got an EX dive kick already and the cross under. Just the kid getting mixed. Oh, and then he gets the crouch jab. Oh, using that for a mix-up. Knuckle Dude on the verge of a perfect. Tries to catch him throw baiting. Not going to happen, but there he gets it. Dash forward, dash back. He feeling himself after that one. Started off early, and then he catches Knuckle Dude, gets counter hit, trying to wake up with some stuff.
Counter hit combo. Nice work there from Just a Kid. Now he's trying to keep Knuckle Dude contained. Found the opening with crouch. Strong side switch as well, using the meter.
So smart, yeah.
EX spiral arrow to go around the opponent. Now getting started. Crouch strong. Incoming. No, I lied. Jump strong.
Oh, switching up the jump in timings, gets the jump strong, gets the stun as well. A lot of paration on the damage there. What's next? Oh!
Activation. No, no, sir. He knows what you want. You're going to let that rip? No, I see you 2 steps ahead as Knuckle Dude.
Yeah, Veer wrestles out of there. Now Knuckle Dude, oh boy.
I was going to say, Knuckle Dude's done a great job in nullifying the activation, which is exactly how Just a Kid gets started. He's found the weakness now. Anti-airs.
Back strong, just keeping it nice and simple.
Nice check with the medium kick, getting started. The fireball following through. Knuckle Dude with the tech as well. 37 seconds left on the clock. Knuckle Dude's just going to hang back, wait for the V-trigger to dissipate. Or I might be wrong, he's going to go for the kill now.
Oh, and he just lets the DP rip. You think you could take your turn? Nah, it's all Team Gale's turn. As he goes for the fist bump.
All right. We've talked a ton about the depth of the character pool for this roster and how this enables Knuckle Dude to create different scenarios and strategies in choosing his player order beyond just the character ban. This week, Rob TV and his Karen managed to dominate the unfavorable matchup of Birdie, piloted by Toy, and we were once again treated to Knuckle Dude's Cammy. Taking full advantage of the weaknesses of his opponent's characters, the neutral game of Mika and El Chicote, and the defensive options on the side of Jury with the guerrilla warfare style attack from the Killer Bee. Only 2 teams remain for Team Gale. They do unfortunately draw the short end of the straw and are facing the top 2 teams in the Street Fighter League this season in Team Storm and Team Inferno. You're 50-50, gentlemen. Which team would Knuckle Dude and Team Gale have a harder time to game plan for? Starting with SplicedHelix.
Honestly, I don't know if they'd have trouble with either one as far as the game plan goes. Not necessarily the play, the game plan. Heck, I don't know. I would think Inferno just because Punk, but that's me. I might be a little bit biased because of the end of season. But that's rough. That's rough. I think those 3 teams, Gale, Storm, and Inferno, they're the top 3. So, however that shakes out between Storm and Gale, I think will determine second place because Inferno is going to win.
Mortsy, you of course picked Team Gale not only in the draft special that we did, but in the mid-season predictions. How are you feeling about Team Gale right now, and what are their chances of beating both of the top 2 teams to make it into that top 2 spot?
They're going to have a harder time with Storm than they will with Inferno. Is what I'm going to start off by saying, because they've established a game plan that works for Inferno already. Ban the Karen, play Guile against Colleen. So now it's basically when someone establishes a game plan that works, it's not up to them to then reinvent it. They can just do the same thing, and it's up to their opponents to come in with the win. So we've seen I don't know. Obviously, it's a different time, but we did see today. We saw Gale versus Inferno at E3 for their exhibition match, um, and we established that um, Gale that Deuce Nash can handle JB's Rashid. So what I think would be interesting is also that Shine is silly and should have played Ibuki, but that's another thing. God, I was so excited too, man. They left, I believe it was a fan voted ban, and they left Ibuki open because they banned, I think they banned God. No, they banned
Yep. No, it was Kyle.
Guile. Bro. And then dude started talking shit because he's like, you can't, because he can't win on a secondary. So he goes jury and then he loses. It was really funny, and it doesn't matter, right?
Just admit the
all
truth,
good
man.
fun. Like Punk played Birdie, and he got his ass kicked, but he played Birdie, and it was really fun. It was a fun, exhibition.
What is it with team captains and picking Birdie when their main gets banned?
I don't know, especially on the roster, but that's actually like the 7th character we've seen Punk play. Not in the SFL, but in general, he just pulls out whatever the hell he wants. And it looked hell a lot better than Toys and Idoms, that's for sure. I don't think I'm setting the bar low. Anyways, I think, I mean, they lost to Gale, or they lost to Storm last time, I believe, due to a Samurai OCV. So and obviously I think they do the same thing. Ideally not lose to not get OCV'd by Samurai. But I don't think you can do the Laura strat because the issue is I don't know what Laura's matchups are like. So I don't know whether or not they have a character that beat it. Maybe Knuckle Do Guile. That is the only one I can think of, just due to the logic that Guile probably beats Laura and has a reversal, basically. But actually, no, that's not even, I don't even like that because Laura kind of eats up 4-framers really nicely after she gets Oki after command grab, or she gets a trade at least after every command grab.
Vega. Vega.
Guile's supposed to beat Laura. I rarely do, but on paper, Guile's supposed to.
Like, it's all paper stuff, right? And even then, Laura's still volatile. That's one of the reasons why I would never recommend letting it go, because it's so volatile and strong, and it can just end really quickly. But I do think they'll have a harder time with Storm because not only did they lose last time, but there's no real established game plan to defeat them because of the strength of both Samurai and Idon. And we've already established this is. I guess I'm kind of just basically working off of what's already happened. But I feel like they've established they have a strategy for Punk. They've established that they have that they can beat multiple times, that they can deal with JB Rashid. So I think they have a much better chance against Inferno. But we'll see. It all depends on how it goes against Storm. I think it's not going to be bad. Like, I don't think they get crushed, but it's going to be it's going to be really tight. Like, I can't say either way. I think both teams have a good chance of winning.
So Geki, of course, Team Storm had to OCV to take down Team Gale last time in a very exciting, essentially first to 3, best of 5. They played all 5 games. We saw what happened there. What has to change on the part of Team Gale to take down Team Storm this coming Thursday?
They got to get better at fighting Mikey. Seriously, I think Mikey is such a threat because of the not in his character, but the way he plays beats most people and how they like to play neutral. Because the thing is, Samurai, and I played him in a first 5. I know what the heck I'm talking about. He constantly looks for you walking back like Punk, except he plays Akuma, and he uses a fireball as a poke, and people don't realize that you need to stand closer to Akuma, because if you go back and watch the match, they all stand just outside of the range where fireball would explode, because they don't want to block the fireball, and they're worried about the up close fireball that you can't react to. But the thing is, that's where you fight Akuma. You fight him in that range so that you can interrupt him with a counter poke or a crush counter, and also whiff punish, crouch heavy punch, or stand medium kick. I know stand medium kick is a stretch for most people, but for Cammy, she can definitely do it, no problem. Especially NuckleDu, who's super comfortable. Or Stand Heavy Punch as a buffer, if you'd like. But, you know, against Akuma, it's really risky to play a buffer-heavy game because of the fact he can whiff punish really well. So if you make it whiff, it's generally not a good idea. You either want to make him hit something or make him block it, right? At the same time, NuckleDu gets away with a lot of jumps. A lot of poor timed jumps that if you were any bit aware, you would just anti-air him, or at the very least, air-to-air or jump back light kick or light punch, like a normal Street Fighter player should. But I don't know what it is. I think it's just the player is not comfortable with the level of skill. Even though NuckleDu is not doing anything crazy amazing with Cammy, it's just mentally they aren't ready or they aren't aware. Like, there is at least 10 times that Just a Kid could have anti-aired and got a punish, got a meaty, or at least just got it back to neutral and then handled the situation, but he just did not. And I'm sick of people losing to Cammy basic stuff since season 1. My gosh, learn the matchup, please.
So that just means since it's season 1, they just shouldn't ever lose to Cammy ever?
No, but I'm just saying basic Cammy stuff shouldn't get by anymore. If you're going to lose to Cammy, lose to the player, not to the character, which clearly they're losing to the character in my opinion. And the name of NuckleDu.
The name of NuckleDu.
Yeah, 100%.
NuckleDu plays a really interesting style of Cammy that we don't see from anyone else.
For sure.
Uses his jumps a lot better than most people. I think that he rarely dive kicks. Actually, one thing that's kind of he doesn't dive kick very often, but he always leaves that threat open, and that it's hard to anti-air Cammy, dude. It's not the oh man I need to hit a button. It's the shit is she gonna dive kick? Like, it's a mix up every time she jumps, and that's tough.
Trust me, I know. I played Vegas.
Exactly. That's the perfect thing with Vega is you're like, I'm not even going to bother committing to an anti-air because I can't. So I'm just going to outspace her on the ground. So you don't have, it's not even a mix-up because you already know you can't do one of them.
Well, because the thing is, the thing people don't do, and it's been like this forever, is you purposely walk in the range of a perfect dive kick. And then you walk back when she jumps or backdash. And then so when she does do the dive kick perfectly, it whiffs and you whiff punish her on the ground. If you can't do that, you walk close to her. So when you block the dive kick, she's punishable when she lands and she literally can't EXDP it. No one does that.
I just down back.
You also kind of need to have you also kind of need to have the walk speed to walk into the range of the dive kick and then block.
It sounds real nice, Mr. Motorboat on legs.
Yeah,
that chunk of the cast can do that.
No, disagree.
Yeah.
I will actually disagree.
I can do it. The only way that I do it is I just hope that they're bad. Other than that, because Fang is tall, so I just stand up and block everything, and half the time it's punishable because he's 7'3". So it's like
7'3" or like 7'6". Isn't he like something ridiculous? 7'3". Okay.
Dude, that's even easier because you're so tall, it's hard to hit at the legs.
I know, that's what I'm saying, is that because Cammys often screw it up against Fang, like I can, but also because my anti-airs are so good. I've got like I've got like 4 of the best anti-airs in the entire game.
I absolutely hate his down fierce. I hate it.
Yeah.
Crouch medium kick, my dudes. Crouch medium kick, my god.
That button is disgusting. The thing is it only does 20 damage, so it's not like... Could you imagine if it did like 60 damage every time you anti-aired with crouch medium kick? Whew! Oh man, I'd kill people off anti-airs alone. Anyways, yeah, so it's just, you have to deal with the mix-up, especially when NuckleDu is walking to the ranges where you have to guess. He's not, it's, especially because he walks to the ranges where it's not a guess of dive, well, it is a guess of dive kick and jump in, it's a guess of dive kick and cross up. Right, where he's jumping, and if he just chooses the dive kick, he's in front, and if he doesn't, he goes behind you, and that's where it gets really tough. So, but yeah, he wait, did we ever prompt me, or am I just jumping in?
We all started jumping in on each other. Like that's totally fine. Yeah, we're totally jumping in like NuckleDu and getting away with it. Let's end that conversation there. We still have one more match to talk about. I can't believe the trade talk went as long as it did. That was absolutely fantastic from the panel. Shout outs to you guys one more time. Let's see with Team Gale. They do have, like I said, the hardest road to that top 2 spot. First up, of course, this Thursday is going to be Team Storm. Speaking of Team Storm, first going in to match day 8. I lost track of the match day. Match day 8. And it's time for your final round, gentlemen. Team Storm continues to surge. Opposing teams have finally decided to stop the 4-week momentum of Team Storm's Samurai and his Akuma. But what kind of beast have they chosen to unleash in the wake of slaying the Raging Demon? IDOM's Laura looked good in its SFL debut. And now Team Frost is gambling on banning Akuma as well. Which means, ladies and gentlemen, it is once again Bonita time. Let's take a look at our final matchup from this past week. This is Team Storm versus Team Frost, our first topic. A favorite of yours truly that we keep bringing up on the show. Let's talk about Up to Snuff, shall we?
You mean my twin?
The Tiger Shot, the classic, never fails.
Because Up to Snuff was willing to trade with that, right? Because his projectile would hit first, meaning that Sagat's dead. But no, it was just misspaced slightly.
Samurai just a little bit out of there. Saved by the Tiger.
Yep, surviving another round. Trying to give his team a lead here. Trying to hold the lead for his team, I should say.
That was a very deep dive. You know, I understand why he did it. He wanted to steal his turn.
Absolutely.
Command grab. No, EX uppercut. You gotta hold this first.
Man is never scared, just wakes up with it again.
V reversal, he understands. Yes, sir. Does it again. Okay, Up to Snuff, looking to take it. Huge life lead, huge probability. Backs off ever so slightly. Now he's trying to just chip him away a little bit. With that V-skill, he's trying to catch him standing.
Yeah, oh, jumps over, can't get a punch though. You gotta be careful.
That would have been a big roundhouse if it landed. Up to Snuff. He's trying to find a way to close it. He's just so close, he could do it.
Up to Snuff has to be careful of neutral jumping those fireballs because he can get Kara DP'd at the right range. Oh. Right now he's in complete control though. Yeah, Samurai. Oh, he gets the jumping on the V skill. Whips it. Did he get out of it in time? No, he did not. Great wake up CA from Up to Snuff right there, because if Samurai did not read that hard, he was getting chipped out.
Close it out. Close it out. He's trying to be that gatekeeper.
This is team battle point right now for Team Storm. Oh, recovers in time to not get jumped in on. Oh, the 7-frame sweep, man. I'll talk about it again. That's not a cross-up. Staying in front with the dive kick. Oh, yeah. I think everybody in the room felt it coming. Up to Snuff.
Do it again?
Yeah. Yeah. Up to Snuff. Smelling the desperation from Classico. I think he just got a little overzealous, right? He was playing so well, and then the momentum was completely in Up to Snuff's favor at first, and he just wanted that EX headbutt, right? He wanted his turn back, but though Kevin called it.
All right, gentlemen, this topic is about as repetitive as listening to K-pop in my car. Another week, another secondary character in the player order against Up to Snuff. This time, however, Samurai appeared to be more solid than last week, and it took quite a bit of adjusting on the part of Up to Snuff to finish the matchup. Kudos where it's due, the match was close and adjustments were made. Up to Snuff in the end was exactly as his name suggests, taking down Samurai Sagat. Up next, we take a look at Urian rather, and a lot more of the same thing. Up to Snuff goes down one game, makes his adjustments, finishes it off. We talked about this very, very early in Street Fighter League about how he was trying to adjust with Akuma against Punk. Once again, I'm going to pose the question to you guys with 2 weeks to go. Should there be any concern about Up to Snuff's performance in getting Team Frost into the top 3 money positions, or even second place to qualify for next season? Mortsy.
I don't know. I think he played super well. I like him adapting because it reminds me a little bit of, not only when I look at his face, but also in his method of winning. It doesn't, so long as he gets the W, I don't think it matters how he's winning, you know? Like, the method is, you do you, dude. No matter how you do it, so long as you're taking the W, doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. So I think he's doing fine. He's still he's beating, mind you, again. I mean, it's Classico and it's Samurai Sagat, right? So again, it's more victories that aren't necessarily amazing. But what matters is when he is given these opportunities, he's winning. He's not like going against someone secondary and still losing or something like that. He's still pulling out victories where he should. So I think on that note, he's kind of like the most like, oh yeah, up to snuff. Like you can kind of look at it and be like, oh, he's gonna lose this one. Or you can, and he's like performing almost like exactly to what you'd expect him to do. Like he goes against this person's secondary. Up to snuff's probably gonna win. He goes against this person's main. He's probably gonna lose. You know, and it's not like like even against some mains, like I think he still beats like Broly Legs. He still beats a lot like Classico. He beats Psycho. Or actually I think he got cleaned by Psycho. But anyways, it's like but he goes against Punk. You're like, he's probably gonna lose. But he goes against like any of the secondaries, it's like, yeah, he's gonna win, and he always does it. So he's consistent. You know what to expect, and I think that helps a lot in his team environment in a way. Like he's just like, we know what to expect from him, so we can just leave him to his own thing because we know it literally exactly what's going to happen. It's like you flip a coin and it's going to be the same every time because you know the outcome, I guess, as opposed to having the same outcome. But that's kind of how I'm seeing him at the moment. So I don't know. I think he's doing fine. He's doing what he should be, and he has two teammates that are doing also super well. So he's not like leaving up slack or anything. He's not someone that they're carrying. He's pulling his own weight and not losing where he shouldn't be.
All right, Geki. Up to Snuff was nefariously referred to as the best player on his team by Team Inferno captain Punk. Is he?
He is, how can I explain this to most people in the world? He is the white bread of the universe. So he's going to taste exactly how you're going to expect it to taste.
What are you trying
He's
to
gonna-
say, Geki?
He's going to go with many different condiments that you expect, and there's not going to be no surprises with white bread. It's going to be the same thing. It's consistent. It's what most people have. It's kind of bland. There's no upsets. And it's going to be the same kind of style every time you eat white bread, right? So that's literally Up to Snuff personified by food. You're welcome.
This analogy, though.
No, I like it. That makes sense. Honestly, that's a concise way of saying what I ramble.
But to answer your question, is he the best on the team? White bread can never be the best.
Wait, what?
That's a lie. White bread can be
The actual expression
Can be
is
good,
the
not the
greatest
best.
thing since sliced bread, and when you say sliced bread, it's assumed that it is white bread. So what are you saying, Geki?
I doubt the first bread was white.
The first bread doesn't mean it's the best.
Christ.
I mean, I prefer sourdough.
That's the top tier bread, my friend.
All right, SplicedHelix. Talk about Up to Snuff a little bit. It's interesting that each of the players on Team Frost kind of fill a role. Up to Snuff is like the data collector. He will lose a game, grab all the data, and then Dual Kevin will point out all the data so that the rest of the players can actually get the job done. And of course, the all-star of the team captain, is Nephew. Would you agree with that assessment in the way that they've approached this season?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the gameplay from Up to Snuff is a problem. I don't think they need to be concerned about it because with this format, anybody's going to have that. Anybody can run across, oh, well, I have to play secondaries, and the only time I win a secondary is because 80% of the time I'm fighting secondaries. It's going to happen, and then you've got the other time where you're fighting the best players in the world on their mains, and you're going to lose. It's it's rampant throughout all the teams. It's just more prominent with Up to Snuff because that's pretty much all we see is that example and it turning out exactly the way White Bread would. Go.
All right,
Go,
Geki, just go.
talk.
Just go.
So, you said that dual Up to Snuff is like the data collector, but that's what White Bread does. It soaks up the toppings and the condiments. And I'll give you this further analogy. So Dual Kevin is the sauce. So what's the most common thing on white bread? Mustard, mayo. So he's definitely that. And since the team captain, nephew,
Please stop.
he's actually the meat of the sandwich. Okay, so he
Please
is
stop.
the salami. He's the prosciutto. He's a little bit higher quality because of the level of play. And I personally think ham because he makes everyone salty when he wins. So Team Frost
Please
is technically
stop.
a cold sandwich, a frozen sandwich.
Geki, please.
Okay. So let's end this part of the discussion
Thank you.
on this note. Team Frost, of course, needs to win out, and we'll get into more of that later in order to make the top 3 spots. Very quickly, Mortsy, Geki, then SplicedHelix. Do they make one of those top 3 spots?
One of the top
There's a chance.
3?
Yeah, the money spots.
They don't make top 2, but I also don't think they make top 3 unless because they have to win every time now.
Yeah, they have to win out, and they only win the tiebreaker against Team Gale.
Yeah, because they already lost. They literally just lost against Storm. No, they don't make top 3 because it's going to be. I think we have established now the top 3, and it's all depending on how Storm and Inferno matches versus Gale go. Unless for some reason Samurai starts throwing and starts losing, or people I just don't see Storm ever losing after watching what they've already done. Outside of losing to Gale, because of course I'm gonna cheer for my own team. But yeah, I don't see them being able to crack this top 3 that's established itself.
All right, so we reached a little with the sandwich. It's a little too big. Let's throw it in the fridge.
They're gonna eat the sandwich. They ate the sandwich. That's what Storm did.
Let's throw the rest of the sandwich in the fridge for now, and let's close out the show with talking about, of course, the giant elephant in the room that Mortsy shakes his head at because he has seen it personally. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Bonita time once again.
Either.
That was tough to block. Oh, we got Samurai starting to pipe up again, trying to get in the heads of Team Frost.
Very needy elbow, but Nephew with that exchange coming out on top. No side switch instead.
The stand roundhouse perfectly spaced. Oh, again with the trade.
Excellent trade combo there from Nephew.
Yeah, he's looked for that a couple of times now. Oh no, caught asleep.
Caught the back dash, just nearly escaping danger. That's the activation route. Back roundhouse. Rock bottom. Out of there.
Yeah, backdash into normal. He recovered in time to not get clipped by the fireball. Still coming. Oh, Jaku lockdown gets the overhead and then the forward throw item.
Oh, he got caught pressing a button and he still managed to get it.
Oh yeah, item to the dash in dash.
Holding forward, getting himself ready for the EX uppercut. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know if he was holding up or what, but either way.
Uh-oh, crush counter. Didn't miss. Didn't get the reset.
Oh, bro,
the gap.
stop. I'm really rocking and rolling at this point. Getting team battle point.
It's too tough to take him by yourself.
Oh. Nice check. There it is. Crouch jab into the full counter hit combo.
Gets the back throw as well. All up to stuff now. Okay, critical art. One more instance away. He can actually do this against IDOM. He still has critical art. It is a huge threat.
Item surrendering the V trigger as well, using the V reversal of up to stuff. Gets a low forward. He can confirm it as C8. Oh.
Oh. He tried. Oh no.
But he's still alive. Oh, he tried to check the dash, but he was
That's it!
too late.
Fucking go! Let's go! Let's go!
All right. The Raging Demon slain, but the Bombshell Bonita free. IDOM for the second week in a row has been unleashed on the Street Fighter League. This week, despite a strong effort from Team Frost Captain Nephew and a near OCV for Team Frost nefariously alleged best player and up to snuff, IDOM managed to hold down the fort and maintain Team Storm's momentum. That was, of course, started by the now infamous OCV runs of Samurai's Akuma. With 2 weeks to go and only Team Gale and Team Spirit remaining, what's the strategy for either team to try and stop Team Storm? And will they qualify for Season 2 of Street Fighter League? Geki.
I mean, didn't we learn enough about Laura in Season 2? Light Bolt Charge is -2 on block, and they don't press anything like it's plus. What the heck? Of course they're going to make it, because no one checks anything. I'm so sick of it. Yeah, I think the way Storm is playing is just showing the holes in all the other teams. And on top of that, they honestly have the best team dynamic in the league. Aside from maybe Punk carrying the entire team, whether or not they win or lose. Just because they complement each other. Because like Mortsy and SplicedHelix have mentioned in the past, if you ban one of them, the other one's going to fly. So you're honestly screwed. And it just depends on what character you're more comfortable fighting against. But clearly, they don't know how to fight against Laura or Akuma. So what are you going to do?
No way.
SplicedHelix, your take on what Team Gale or Team Spirit have to do to play spoiler for Team Storm?
I think you keep it's 2 weeks in a row. It's proven. You keep Laura out. I mean, yeah, you have to deal with Samurai's Akuma, but Samurai's Akuma can be dealt with. Yeah, who's gonna take down Idom's Laura besides Punk on Karen, not on Chun-Li? But I mean, you don't. There's no way you're going to beat Team Storm if you let Laura run free. That's all Mortsy. He can say I told you so all he wants because he was right.
Mortsy, tell us I told you so, because we know you were right.
I'm squirming like freaking, I can't remember his name, but the guy from Inglourious Bastards when he's squirming in his chair saying, that's a bingo. Can't remember.
Colonel Hans Landa.
Thank you, Hans
You're welcome.
Landa. Anyways, so, God, you guys are singing a sure different tune now after Laura finally got free. It's really funny to hear you guys talk about how, like, God, you can't... It was a mistake to ever let her go. We just didn't have the foresight. No one knows how to play against Laura.
They don't!
That's a sure different thing. It's than you guys were saying before when Laura wasn't free. So, yeah, man, I think both teams need to ban Laura, and you need to, because I don't think either team has a handle on IDOM. I don't think at Combo Breaker, I thought this was kind of funny. At Combo Breaker, Team Spirit or Justin Wong got 2-0'd by IDOM, and I think I already mentioned this on this stream in that matter. That he said he tweeted out afterwards, can't beat V Trigger Fighter 5. Because he got I guess he just got dusted every time that IDOM went into V-Trigger, and I don't imagine it's any different. So Justin's, obviously this is not happening after Combo Breaker, but Justin is going to be, they're going to ban Laura. Both teams are going to ban Laura, because there's, God, I hope Gale bans Laura. And then they're going to find their they're going to need to work on strategies to fight against Samurai. And God, it's so tough because all of them are probably super hot. As in...
What?
As in, because they have so much momentum, they're hot, they're warmed up with and it's all happening over such a tight time. It's not like there's a week break and then they're playing again. It's they're going. Oh, I just OCV'd this team. Oh, I just OCV'd this team. Oh, I just OCV'd the next team. Oh, it's my turn. I get to OCV the next guy. So every team that, and it's not like you have a long time to theory craft. You go, shit, they just OCV'd another team. What do we do about this? I bet there's like, all right, it's the next team. Let's go. Like they do a sweep, and then it's like in the original Spider-Man with when he's going into the wrestling arena and he's pulling off and they're stretching off the last wrestler. That's what they're going into every time. They're going to fight Bonesaw, and it's not going to be pretty. So
You
I
got
think,
2 minutes.
yeah.
No, 3 minutes. It's 3
I
minutes.
do
Was
not
it 3?
believe that is the Randy Savage. I did not know that, and I think that is so sick.
How do you not know?
I didn't even know he existed before. Okay? Yeah, I did not know. I didn't know he existed before college because I didn't follow wrestling.
Get out.
That's fair.
And then
That's
I
fair.
got introduced to Randy Savage memes, and it was just spectacular. Anyways, that is a conversation for another time. There were some good ones though. Photoshop was used. So I think that God, this is gonna be tough. I don't know. I don't think Team Spirit stand a fucking chance. But Gale can, because they're Gale, and because they have a stronger roster of characters, and because Manat ain't shit against the characters. I don't think she beats Akuma, especially post nerf, which just totally takes place after. So you could leave Manat up. I don't even care. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, I don't think either team has. That's a lie. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, Gale. Shoot. It's gonna be hard. I don't think Team Spirit has a chance. I think Gale does, but I'm saying they have a chance because even I'm kind of losing faith.
If Gale bans Laura and Storm does not ban Guile, they have a good chance.
Okay, I think that's fair. I don't know who else you would ban against. Oh God, Ibuki.
Yeah.
I don't think. God, if that happens, I don't think Storm stands.
They won't let Ibuki out.
You can't.
They know from having Laura and what that's done for them. They won't risk it the other way.
Exactly, it's the same thing. Anyways, yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a great match though. It's gonna be really good to watch, I think.
If Duke can get his Guile up against Samurai's Akuma early, then
you know what? I bet they don't even, if it's left open, he doesn't pick it.
I don't know why not. It's such an easy thing.
I just think
I
he
mean,
feels more comfortable playing other characters. Who did he pick last time
he
against?
picked G. He made that very questionable decision to pick G to start the samurai train
Didn't he
from
just
rolling.
throw super hard? Wasn't that what ended up happening? Was he just did terrible, stupid things?
Yep.
Yes.
He couldn't confirm a lot of things. We
The first terrible stupid thing being not picking Guile.
yeah, we
Exactly.
absolutely lambasted NuckleDoo in that episode for that decision, which led to, of course, another samurai OCV. Did you? It's funny because we talk about all of these teams on paper as soon as the draft was done. We did not see this coming out of Team Storm at all. I think all four of us had Team Storm as our bottom two teams. And I think some of us even have them as the worst team, which I think is really funny. That they are the best team currently. So we'll have to see the big matchup, of course, that probably decides everything this Thursday, where it's Team Gale versus Team Storm. That'll do it for us this week on Beyond the Fist. Just to give you an update on the standings right now and where everything stands. Team Storm maintains the tiebreaker at first place at 6-2, with Inferno behind them also at 6-2. Team Frost and Team Gale switch spots once again on the ladder, this time with Gale at third at 5-3 and Frost at fourth at 4-4. Those are the teams that are still in contention for the top 2 spots, actually. Unfortunately for Geki, Team Spirit now joins Team Psycho out of contention positions and will now focus on playing Spoiler. They are 5th in the league. And of course, Team Psycho rounds out the bottom of the table at 1-7.
Geki,
Who did
Jump.
Psycho beat?
jump on
Psycho beats
bandwagon.
Storm. Week 1.
I can't.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that's
I'm already off the
Yeah,
cliff. I can't get back on.
there was only one team that beat Samurai Zakuma, and it was week 2, match day 1, and Team Psycho's only victory.
Who was it that beat the Akuma? Was it Just a Kid or no?
It was Just a Kid. Just a Kid had that monster OCV.
Right.
And
Well,
we
we
haven't.
know it wasn't Toy.
Yeah, it definitely was
That
not
wasn't
Toy
Toy.
Best Birdie
I
NA.
don't think Chakotay
Definitely
had a win
not.
for like the first 4 episodes.
Yeah. All right, so that's your update on the standings. Week 10, Match Day 9 airs Thursday, June 13th at 4 p.m. On Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Our episode will air at some point following that in the next week. I think we have scheduling things that we have to work out. We'll be discussing that later. Follow all of us on Twitter for the latest on that. All video footage from today's livecast is used with permission from Capcom. Follow the SFL and Capcom Pro Tour on Twitch at twitch.tv/CapcomFighters, on YouTube at youtube.com/CapcomFighters, and on Facebook Live at facebook.com/CapcomFighters. For the panel, Geki, Mortsy, and SplicedHelix, I am togashiazrael. Thank you for watching. And you'll see
Don't cut
us
the show.
beyond your fists next week.
Right?
Don't
Geki
cut-
as a thing.
Wait, what?
Remember?
Pitch.
Talked about this.
Oh, yeah,
Pitch.
we had a pitch. Okay, we talked about this pre-production. I didn't write in the script, so I totally forgot. So before we sign off, Geki almost had a heart attack. Please go ahead and sell yourself to the internet masses real quick.
So I'm gonna post this in the chat, but for unrelated news, but still fighting game news, Fighting EX Layer will be getting its own side tournament hosted by yours truly. On the side, 2 setups, 2 PS4s, full bracket, payout sponsored by the entrance itself. I'm not keeping no profits because I just want to run a great tournament. Hope to see y'all there. Here's the link in the chat. You can search smashgg/Fexel Evo 2019 and also be on the Reddit SF Radio podcast talking about more details. So tune in for that as well.
When is that podcast happening, Geki?
It'll be recorded on Thursday evening and will go up later that weekend. So hopefully by Monday morning, you guys will have access to it. And if you follow me on Twitter, I will be posting that link. I'm sure everyone on here will share it, maybe.
That's super exciting.
Guys, seriously, do
it
please
is
tune
good.
into that. If you guys haven't seen any of the Reddit Street Fighter interviews at all, there's an entire podcast more on that. Shout outs to Reddit Street Fighter for doing that and creating content for the
Super
FGC.
Joe Monday.
Yeah, Joe Monday.
It's
So,
really
yeah.
good. The whole series is really good.
Yeah, so do check that out. And I would be lying if I said that I didn't take any kind of inspiration from Joe Monday for coming up with topics of discussion for these Beyond the Fist episodes as well. So much love to Reddit Street Fighter for supporting the show. Anything else we want to say? If you guys want to reach any of us on Twitter, of course, there you see our Twitter handles. Mortsy, of course, the newest streamer from Vancouver Street Battle. You can follow him on Twitch as well. SplicedHelix.
Banji.
Banshee.
I lick my fingers for Joe Monday.
Oh my goodness. Anything else that we missed? Because we did a very, very quick pre-production before we got going. Anything else you guys want to say before we call it a night?
Be kind to everybody.
I think we at some point, I don't know if I should say this, but if anyone's interested, I think the conversation that we had a little bit earlier between that SplicedHelix offered up having the extra bench slots, I thought was a very interesting thing that we should elaborate on at some point. I don't know if that
Off-season.
needs to be announced, but I think that's a very interesting topic.
Yeah, I think that we will be doing some kind of off-season, like just us talking, spitballing, like bonus episodes for you guys even after the season is over between season 1 and season 2. So we'll try and work on something like that where it's more of like a roundtable discussion. We might even have more people on here, which would be kind of cool if we can get some more panelists to talk about any and all things Street Fighter. Thank you for joining us. For the panel, Geki, Mortsy, and SplicedHelix, I'm going to do our outro one more time. I have been togashiazrael. Thank you for watching. You'll see us beyond your fists next time. Take care, everybody. Good night.